Welcome back to Silicophilic. I have been using Windows long enough to recognize something most people don't talk about. Not features, not updates, friction. That half-second delay when you open the start menu, that hesitation when File Explorer loads. Individually, it's nothing, but over time, it adds up. And as a power user, you start to realize something uncomfortable. And for years, that was the cost of using Windows until now. Because what Microsoft is doing with K2 isn't an update, it's a correction. And instead of just reading about it, I went in, tested it, and felt the difference myself. Here is exactly what I did and what actually changed. Windows K2 isn't an update, it's a fix. For a long time, Windows stopped feeling like a system and started feeling like an experiment. Too many layers, too many web-based components, too many features competing for attention. It wasn't broken, but it wasn't tight either. And when you compare that to something like a Linux-based system or a highly optimized OS, you feel the gap. That's the context behind K2. This isn't innovation. This is Microsoft paying back technical debt. The return to native. Let me show you something. Press the Windows key repeatedly. Open and close the Start menu quickly. Launch File Explorer multiple times. Before, you would notice a slight delay, a micro stutter. However, now, it just opens instantly. So what's actually happening? Underneath, Microsoft is shifting core components to a native framework. Less reliance on web layers and more direct system execution. The result isn't just faster, it's consistent. And consistency reduces cognitive load. You stop noticing the system, which is exactly how it should be. The calm OS. Now let's talk about something subtle, not speed but focus. Open the Start menu, look at Recommended section, open Widgets panel. Open Settings, then head to Personalization. For years, Windows felt noisy. There were suggestions, widgets, content feeds. It wasn't a workspace. It was like a surface. But now there's a shift. There is much less clutter, less visual noise, and more intentional design. What this means? This is like the professionalization of the desktop. The system isn't trying to engage you, rather, it's trying to get you out of your way, and that's a huge shift. Reliability. The end of chaos updates. Now let's talk about the real pain point, updates. Open Settings, then go to Windows Update, then choose Advanced Options, and you are greeted with toggles like Pause Updates and Active Hours. And here is the reality you face: random restarts, expected or unexpected installs, and broken workflows have been the norm. You are in the middle of a project and suddenly Windows decides it's time to reboot. That's not control, that's disruption. To take the control, you can pause updates and adjust updates behavior. For the first time in a while, Windows feels like something I can manage, not something managing me. This is where K2 changes the story. Updates are no longer scattered across your week like landmines. They are consolidated, structured, predictable. Instead of bracing for interruptions, you can anticipate them. You're not reacting to whatever Windows decides to push. You are scheduling your work around a known rhythm. That's a huge shift. For individual users, this feels like a test of enterprise-grade reliability. Companies have long demanded predictable update cycles to protect productivity. Now that discipline is filtering down to everyday users. The result? Fewer interruptions, more confidence, a workflow that stays intact. Updates stop being the villain in your day and start becoming part of the strategy you can actually trust. The deeper shift from Agile chaos to quality doctrine. For years, Windows followed a model: ship fast, fix later. But that model created instability, inconsistency, and eventually loss of trust. K2 changes that. It introduces a doctrine of quality, where performance, reliability, and clarity come before features. Let's not ignore the competition. Systems built on Linux are highly efficient. Other operating systems are tightly optimized. Windows had to respond not with features but with discipline. K2 is that response. The power user check. Are you on the right build? Now let's make this practical. Press Windows plus R, type WinVer. Hit enter and check your Windows version. If you are on newer builds, especially Insider or upcoming releases, you are already seeing parts of this shift. If not, then follow these steps. Open Settings, go to Windows Update, click Check for Updates, and download and install the latest updates. K2 isn't Windows 12. It's not a rebrand. It's a shift in how Windows is built. A continuous system focused on refinement, not reinvention. At the end of the day, nothing here is flashy, no dramatic redesign, no headline feature, but everything feels better, faster, cleaner, and more predictable. So here is the question: do you want an OS that constantly changes, or one that finally gets out of your way? If this video helped, like and subscribe for more such tips and tricks. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.